The second squad for the semifinal rounds have come and gone. We got stand-up, we got musicals, and of course we got sketch comedy. Kristen Key is also here live in studio. We're going to have a lot of fun with her. So give an old guy with a cane your number because the Bring the Funny After Show on AfterBuzz TV starts right now.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What's up? Today's SAT word, penultimate. How's everyone doing? My name is Flobo Boyce. This is the Bring the Funny After Show exclusively on AfterBuzz TV. We're talking about episode 9 of a 10-episode series, Bring the Funny. We have so much going on. Chrissy, how are you doing?
Wonderful. So excited. This is really overwhelming.
Yeah.
That's good.
A lot of lights and sounds. Don't worry. We have reviews going on today. We have some news. We got some predictions. All that's coming up in a minute. Before we get into all of that, let's introduce our panel. On my far left, this guy. You better buy his rookie card now because the price ain't gonna come down. He's an actor. He has an amazing plastic bag collection. It's Ben Schnau.
Oh yeah, guys. I have so many Ralph's plastic bags, you don't believe that.
Because it's 10 cents each. They're
I
dime
keep
a
them.
piece.
I mean, I told you, when I'm moving, I need bags, you know? It's very handy.
Yeah.
Think
Okay.
about that. I have 60, I guess.
You can sell them.
Come on.
I know a guy. I know a guy. And to his right, she's an actor, comedian, has the most attractive magnet collection I have ever seen. It goes on for days and days. La República Dominicana's own Jackie Nova.
Hola, ¿cómo está mi gente?
So, how many magnets in total do you collect?
Oh my God! Every time I go anywhere, there's a magnet, and then you're gonna get a gift as a magnet.
So many colors. So many colors.
So many colors.
Kristen, do you collect anything? Do you
I'm like that could rival Ralph's bags and magnets.
I don't know, bro. I'm just saying.
Thank you.
It's up there.
Thank you.
Wow.
She's like Fabergé eggs. Duh.
I have a whole drawer full of socks.
Yeah.
Different colors or whatnot.
Disney socks.
That's
They're
awesome.
just regular old socks.
Well, holes in them and everything.
I got a lot of them.
We'll rock with it. Of course, Bring the Fun. This was the final, second and final semi-final episode. That makes sense. 6 more acts got on stage. 2 are automatically sent through to the final showcase, with 1 more being voted by America. A lot of surprises tonight. Just overall thoughts of today's episode. Ben, I'm gonna start with you because I would say this: a lot of the acts were on stage, and I saw you not even crack a smile through some of the acts. What's up?
Yeah, I mean, I think I mentioned it already when we talked, when we watched the episode. So for me personally, I feel like that the production value right now became a lot bigger for a lot of performances. So the overall production of every act becomes like humongous right now. And I feel like because of that, a lot of the normal stuff that the people did at the very beginning, just simple stuff, is kind of getting lost a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the production value is almost too much for me now.
Strip it down. Take
You
it
know
back.
what I? So, for example, Frangela, I love those.
We love.
We love
Frangela's
Frangela. We
guest
had them
on
in the
our
studio.
show.
I love you guys,
Frangela's
right?
great.
We
They're
love
really
her.
great, but I feel like the production value right now was even more, and they said it on the show, was almost like a sitcom. Right,
Yeah.
so it was like they had this big room and they had another person outside and stuff like that. For me, that was already a little bit too much. For me personally, you know.
I almost think that they're doing this because they're getting them ready for like the real big times, like for real sitcoms,
Probably.
for real SNL sketches, things of that realm. I
Sure.
think that's why they're doing this big production.
Yeah.
But I still thought they were all funny in different ways, so I can't wait to get into it some more. I mean, yeah.
That's a good point. Chris, I have a question. Do you have a say in the production value, or you just kind of go out there and it's like,
You
oh,
do.
there's
You
lasers?
have a big
Okay.
say in it, and you can fight with them a bit.
Oh.
Right.
Because on one of mine, they on the kayak fight, they wanted to have a tent, and they wanted to have birds chirping, and there was a lake setting behind me, and I was
Right.
like, I like the lake back there. That's great. That sets the steam. I was like, the birds add nothing, and I have no opinion about the tent.
Right.
And so because of the birds not being there, they dropped all of it. They were like, how about a wooden wall?
Right.
I was like, I like the lake better, but when it aired, it was a wooden wall.
Right.
Wow.
So yeah, it's
Interesting.
like
Was that disappointing? Was like, fine.
that's kind of how. But I was like,
Yeah.
I really don't think it really would have changed things.
No.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
say I went home because of a wooden wall.
No.
Like, you know what? I'm gonna say it right
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
I went home because of a wooden wall. Where's my tin bird?
Where is it, man?
America?
And where's the lake?
I was a rabid.
Damn.
You were hysterical no matter what.
I'm collecting resentment.
Number one on the list.
But what do you feel? I mean, by the way. So
You know
like-
what? When I saw the opening promo, I was like, wow, this episode seemed a lot stronger on paper than the last week's episode, the crop of comics and stuff, the crop of comedy acts. But when it came down to it, there was enough misses for me to go, okay, these are pretty even. I think we're going to get to see who went on and who didn't go on. I think the judges made a good choice. But ultimately, it wasn't as lopsided as I thought going in after seeing the performance.
What was your favorite sketch so far from the entire show?
The entire.
Mine is Lou Burger. Oh God, and I love Frangela. Oh my gosh, but I think that Lou Burger was definitely stronger tonight.
Okay.
They just had me in constant tears.
Yeah.
And Morgan J, I know he's not, he's just musical comedy, but he just blew it out of the water.
Just musical comedy.
No, and I love musical comedy. That's my thing. I just love. No. I think it's one of the most incredible things is to do musical comedy.
Yeah, I liked him tonight. I loved where he asked Kenan to move. So he could sit next to, and where you thought Kenan was going to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And then he just was all like, "Hey, get out of the way." So I was like, "That was smooth. That was really smooth."
I mean, honestly, personally, I feel he was the strongest tonight. Totally. So that's why I was a little shocked that he didn't go through.
I
was
bet
really
he was shocked too.
I was like, really?
Yeah.
I mean, Lou Burger was great. Don't get me wrong. And honestly, to Cara Williams, you're going to talk about them, but I just wanted to mention that for a second. I feel like the decisions tonight were basically made based on the overall performances. I feel, you know what I mean? Because and we talked about that for a second. Takara is great. She's a pro. She knows what she's doing. But we really have to say that the performance tonight was not as strong as the last two she did.
Do you think that the judges made this decision thinking that America will save Morgan J?
I think so, which is more dramatic because he really should have gone through. Period.
I hope that.
For sure.
I hope that for a fact.
Well, let's drill down a bit. Morgan J's song was called "Split the Check." It was about splitting the check, and he had Chrissy involved and everything. How do you guys overall feel about interacting with the judges that way?
I love it.
It's great.
That's what it's all about. It's entertainment. It's invigorating. It's exciting. I'm like, yes. Interact with the judges and the people, the audience. Like, why not? That's what it's all about. That's what we want to see as an audience member.
Please.
Yes.
Oh, I'm just listening.
Oh, I thought you were about to say something. Sorry, I didn't want to.
You were double dutching.
I want to hear what the audience
She was
wants
like,
to see.
oh
Yeah, I'm
God,
like,
so beautiful.
I thought she was double dutching.
That's what the audience wants.
I mean,
okay, all right, yeah.
If I have just to say something about that is I feel like Morgan is really smart in picking a topic that we all know.
Yeah.
You know, splitting the check. We all been in this situation. Come on, guys, think about it. Even if we haven't split it, we thought that for a second. Okay, who's gonna pay now? Because I feel like it's a little too expensive. Should I really pay for that?
Even on a date,
Exactly. Even on. I mean, I've been there. Maybe that's the German in me. Excuse me, guys. I love you all, but sometimes I feel like this wine you shouldn't have bought that wine. It was $18 for a glass
judge
of
someone
wine.
after the fact?
Are you crazy?
Excuse me, how many
But
calories
I
are in
don't
that
think
wine?
if it is the first date, like, come on, don't
I mean, but I'm
buy
a
super
gentleman.
expensive stuff. That's crazy.
I paid too. If she was nice and we had a good vibe, I paid. You know, but I have to say he's smart in picking the right topic because he's very smart about it, so we can all identify with that. And then also what I feel like his timing is really great. I really like his timing, his reaction. He's improvising even, right? So he doesn't always, probably he knows a little bit of the answer because how he asks the questions, there is no other way than to say the exact same thing that he wants to hear to basically move on with his performance, right? So we all know that. But sometimes I feel like he's just improvising on the spot, but still keeps the timing in a way that no one really feels that this just came up in a second. And that's not easy to do.
No.
It's hard because historically, again, please jump in because you're actually a professional here. But when it comes to music and comedy, I think most audiences kind of think of the comedy and the music being like an accoutrement, but you really have to have that base to make your material work. I mean, you just can't be like, I'm singing a song, la la la, because you see right through that.
You have to be super good at both. You have to be an excellent musician and a comedian at the same time. So you have to be a really good comedian and a good musician.
Right.
And I feel like he does both very, very well. He's a great musician, he's a great guitar player, but he's also really good at stand-up and improvising and just being like smooth and fun to hang out with.
Yeah, like yourself too.
But he makes it look seamless when it's not easy.
Exactly.
No, and you
But
would
he makes
know
it
that
look
because
easy.
that's your thing.
Yeah.
This is what you
Exactly.
do.
Yeah.
So, and you've known him. You've known Morgan for like a while.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Did you start out doing music first, or did you start out?
I started out doing stand-up first, and I'd been doing stand-up for about 8 or 9 years when I put the guitar in, and then just had the guitar as kind of an afterthought at the end of my act. And then about 5 or 6 years ago, I started playing throughout my act and kind of fell in love with doing that. And then I've been doing that ever since.
Right.
Wow.
How do you
It's
feel?
amazing.
What kind of difference made that to you? So when did you felt like, okay, I want to do the guitar even more now? So what did that change for you in the performance?
For me, it like it's so weird to say this, but it keeps me from getting bored on stage.
Fair. No, I've been there. I get it.
You know,
I get
because
it, yeah.
as a stand-up, you got your material and you got the audience, and then you've got these moments where like you're waiting for them to stop laughing so you can get to your next joke, and your brain has nothing to do there.
Right.
And your adrenaline's firing at 11, and so it gives me something to do. I've got something to do with my hands. I'm thinking of music, and so I'm never without something to do now.
Gotcha.
And so it's nice, and so I've got both sides of my brain working, and I'm always either telling a joke, playing a little riff. It sets my timing, it sets the mood, and so I've always got it's like my show became its own soundtrack.
Yeah.
At the same time. So I think it really took it to a different place for me.
Right.
Where I'm still doing stand-up. I write my stand-up the same way. I've got setup, I've got punchlines, but then when I take it to stage, I workshop it with different chord progressions underneath it, because it gives it a different vibe, different feel, and then different moments for punches.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I think it's brilliant.
I mean, I always wanted to, I think we talked about that to Morgan too, but I also wanted to ask you that question very quickly, if you don't mind, because I'm very interested in that. So when you play the guitar and then you still have your performance on the comedy side, let me put it that way, where does your brain focus the most? So how does that work? How does it look like in your brain while you're playing the guitar and you perform your punchlines? Let me say that. How does your
comedy first, because no matter what, if anything goes wrong with the guitar, you just stop playing it and you keep telling your jokes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so it's always comedy first, and then you in the background, you just have.
So this is more automatic.
It's a little bit like a
It's
background
automatic.
It's automatic.
It's you don't even think about it. And my goal is I don't want the audience to even notice that I'm playing until I stop, and then I want to be like, where'd it go?
Right.
Bring him back.
Bring him back.
Okay.
Oh, that was fun. And so like it makes different parts of their brain light up too. 'Cause that's really the goal, is making people's brains light up.
Exactly.
There's a lot of science to comedy.
And you probably noticed that, like, when you started doing the guitar playing and comedy mixed together, you probably noticed like,
different
the audience
reactions.
is really enjoying
they're
this
feeling
more.
it different. They're smiling different. They're really like
like grooving.
They're grooving. I love watching Morgan get an audience, because I've watched his videos over the course of the show, but also before, because he was on my podcast when I had a musical comedy podcast.
Oh, nice.
And so I watched his YouTube videos, and the way he gets a room vibing, and then he'll start going into crowd work with them, and so now he's like getting real personal with them about them.
Sure.
Yeah, it's fun.
I thought that he was the strongest tonight personally, but before we move on, this is a quick announcement. AfterBuzz TV, from humble beginnings, became one of the biggest digital powerhouses on the planet, and we did it with your help. And for us to continue to grow, we're going to continue to need your help. So if you're watching this show right now on YouTube, the live chat, please like, comment, subscribe, share this show on social media, give it 5 thumbs to all your friends. And if you're like me, when I'm jamming in the car, driving around my Rolls Royce Maserati, make sure I listen to the podcast on iTunes.
What's a Rolls Royce Maserati?
Yeah, it's a combination thing. I actually built it myself with spare parts. It's pretty great. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and give us 5 stars. I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart, because without your help, we would not be the ESPN of TV talk.
That's right.
After Morgan J, to Cara Williams, and I know, Ben, you wanted to go hard there. Jack, I'm going to give you him over there, but I know Ben was like, I don't know. She goes on stage, talks about being newly divorced and having old guys and young guys trying to hit on her because she's in that weird mid-30s zone. Ben, you weren't that impressed. What's up?
What's up?
Oh my God, pressure. No.
Tell us why.
Dude, what am I going to do?
I met her last week. She's a nice lady.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, the material was great. I feel like I could identify with the topic, because I feel like even a lot of older women now, for example, get attracted to a lot more younger guys.
Oh.
It's a thing.
He falls in love a lot.
Okay.
I mean, Kristen, sorry, I love everybody.
Okay.
Sorry, she was thinking like crazy German. Anyway, so, but I just feel like that the vibe was not there for me. I think the punchline, something was missing. I think the last 2 times she was really on the spot, like boom, and I was going crazy because she really hit it on the nail, right? Yeah. But today, I felt like it was a little loose. The punchline didn't really hit me. But the material was still good, though. But I feel sometimes it's also about the right timing, hitting the punchlines on the spot and make you laugh. And that was missing to me.
Yeah. So. No, to echo Ben here.
Yeah. Stop.
I was feeling the same way, because I wasn't hysterically laughing.
Sure.
but she's still really funny. She's got such an amazing stage presence. She's really powerful. She commands, the audience loves her.
Right.
Love. But yeah, I just didn't feel like in the material, like the single and the dating and in the mid-30s, get it, but like it just wasn't hitting like the other material was, where I was like every other second like cracking
Do
up.
you think that the reason for that is in their last sets about being a mom, she had a chance to flesh out her character because it was about her, whereas in this 2.5 minute set she had to establish both an old person and a young person and why they're both weren't for her? Was that too big of a set for 2.5 minutes?
I'm not sure. I just wasn't even thinking about all that. It was
Sorry,
just
I'm
like
just being
no.
really
He's being
It's something to think about, though. It's something to think about.
It is something
and I
to think
love the
about.
way she walks a stage. That's my favorite thing about her. I love the way that she takes a stage. She's a pro.
Yeah.
And she was one of my favorite people to talk to backstage, because I talked to her before one of the performances, and I was all like, how do you get ready for a show? And she was like, usually there's a 5-year-old foot in my face in the bed. I was like, oh wow, because she's got her kid with her at the hotel.
Right.
I was like, wow, okay, yeah, because I'm like, working out some butterflies, and she's like, no, I'm taking my kid to school. I was like, oh wow, that's cool. Yeah, she's awesome. She's incredible.
She seems so awesome, and because you met her, you did stand up Flobo with her.
Laugh Factory. They basically walked around and we shook her hands, and like I said last week, I was like, hi, do the Bring the Funny after show, and she was like, cool. It was like straight laser focus, like, all right, cool.
Yeah, but she messaged you, and she's like, I want to be on.
Yeah, she wanted to be on the show for sure.
She wants to be on the show. Yeah.
But would you agree? I mean, I just wanted to point that out because you all do comedy, right? I'm not in this field, so I can't really feel like you guys feel. But would you say that, the story that you talk about, it's not always about the story, it's also about how you feel that day, for example, how your personal vibe is on stage.
Yeah.
If you maybe don't completely feel it, maybe it's not going to be the best performance, even that the material is exactly the same thing.
I feel like she was feeling it. I feel like she was feeling it, and that walk is definitely like meant. She's got the heels, and she's strutting, baby. She's like, what's up?
No, I mean, in general.
Yeah.
But in general, the
Is
whole
that
thing,
a thing?
I just think maybe like Flobito, you're saying like how it took time to explain the premise.
It took time, and again, the moment when I realized it was contracted is when she was in Panama, we're going to eat, and then we're eating. I feel like there was 4 different steps that had to jump. So I was like, well, is it a time issue? Because you didn't have time to really flesh out her being in the space. This guy randomly showed up, getting his day-old passport,
These are short sets. These are
they're
ridiculously
hard,
short sets.
man.
They're hard for every single type of act. They're impossibly short sets. And so everybody being able to whittle them down to where they're getting laughs and getting the amount of laughs they're getting per short set, that right there is it's
so hard.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable what they're having to do. Yeah.
It is hard, and because you're.
Yeah, and I can see. I mean, having maybe a 5-minute bit into a 2.5-minute bit, and having stuff, or having the perfect 2.5-minute bit and having some editing cut it down a little bit, and you don't know. You don't know where stuff's happening.
We saw that happening for sure.
Yeah, and so I don't know what happened.
Yeah, but she's great.
She's great.
Obviously.
Obviously. No, all of you were great. We were saying this in previous shows where like each time, just all of you are in good hands, honey. Like Allstate, you are all good.
It's not.
That was part of the show. I don't know why you were saying that.
But we have to say it's not about we don't disrespect anyone.
We are farmers.
Moving on to Valleyfolk, our first sketch troupe of the night. They were the group that did.
It's a dark
Mole
comedy,
People and the Robot Doctor and the other 2 showcases.
They're
so this one,
weird.
This one is about a superhero academy that, right? Where everyone has superpowers. Well, everyone has superpowers, but one particular student can just kill birds. Thoughts about that, Jackie Nolan?
I was not blown away, and
that's the face you make when like I fall down in front of you. You're like, yeah.
I mean, I was just, the whole time I kept saying it's weird and crazy, and like birds are dropping in feathers.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on though. But if you hate birds, it's like, some of their sketches are so specific, and that's why comedy's so subjective. Like,
for sure.
Because I met 2 people the other day that literally were like, I hated that hot dog sketch, and I wanted to flip a table. I was like,
that was my favorite sketch on the show.
I was backstage like throwing water bottles, so laughing so hard I had to throw stuff. I was like, if he throws one more hot dog, I swear to God. And he did, and I was like, oh my God.
That was my favorite
These 2 women
season.
at the table were like, oh my God, I didn't understand. It's not funny. We were both like, that's not funny. I was like, I can't be friends with you anymore.
You just got up and walked away.
So that's like how subjective comedy is, where two people can watch the exact same thing, and one person can be like, I don't understand that. I'm like, the bird. If one more bird.
I did say this in my notes. It reminded me of those alt sketch comedy shows like Mad TV or Kids in the Hall, because it really was character driven. This Larry had this eye, was cross-eyed, and this bird, all these birds came out of nowhere. Right. And the sound effects sold it. You know what I'm saying? So even though the sketch didn't make me laugh, I was like, production and the material kind of matched.
She still feels it.
I'm going to watch it multiple times.
She's the one who was making me laugh because of that face she was making.
Right,
I was like,
what was like, remember Debbie Downer in SNL?
Yeah.
That sketch was it either hit or people would be like, I don't get it. And you're like, how could you not get that? She makes a face and goes, womp, womp.
Yeah.
But some people are like, if they don't buy that, then you don't, the whole sketch is ruined.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like, and so you have to jump in for that, or like, that wasn't for you.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But to your credit, Ben, the sketch itself was really thin. It was really one premise. It's one person to kill a bird. So it wasn't layered, so I can understand it from like,
How do you judge a show like this? I'm trying to get you can't judge this. It's unjudgable. It's always so subjective.
This is what we do.
Everybody should split the money.
split the money, darn it!
We love each other
Vote
so
Kristen
much.
back on the show!
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not doing anything.
What's wrong with you people?
I'm writing it right here. Vote Kristen back on the show, darn it!
I'll cancel my plans that week.
You're way too aggressive for me today.
Way too aggressive for German people. Moving on real quick, Frangela returns. After I thought the last sketch was about the house coat, which I wasn't here for that episode, but I thought they were very, very people. But they did win that last round.
Yeah.
This
They're
one,
great.
this one was a chance to redeem themselves with a zombie apocalypse happening outside of an office, whereas there is a personal achievement of becoming head of HR. Chris, let me ask you, just an idea of working with Frangela before, is that how they are on that stage too?
Yeah.
All the time.
They're always, and they're so nice.
They're
always
friends
together.
of the
They're
show.
always nice. They're always encouraging. They would be like, if you walk by them, they'd always say something nice to you. So they made me feel good all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
They're like,
For sure.
they were just like, they were the happiest. To like, I don't know. They were just like, they had good vibes all the time.
Everyone's hands.
That's how it was here when they were here.
For
sure.
Exactly the same way when they were here. This amazing vibe.
Yeah.
Love those ladies.
I think
they should win like at least 70% of the money for that.
Yeah, they should definitely. I mean,
I'll just take like
Vote
5%.
Frangela back on also.
I totally agree, and we talked about it the whole time. It's very subjective, as you said, and I totally agree. But I have to say, talking about the production and stuff like that, I think the last two like performances or stories they told us were more relatable because they talked, I felt, more about themselves in a way too. You know what I mean? And I think this was a little bit out of context a little bit. I couldn't really see them like as this couple in this office.
a duo?
It didn't really feel like them. Does that make sense what I'm saying? But the other two with the code, I totally could see them like that.
you love
And
the house code and you love the movie theater.
The movie
thing.
theater, I could see them like that, sitting in a movie theater freaking out. Oh my God, look at this guy, I can see them like that.
Yeah.
But I had a hard time to see these two because I know them maybe too much now even.
Sure.
To see them in an office talking about money, salary and stuff like that. So that was a hard time for me.
I loved it. I mean, I understand, but I'm going to disagree with you with this one because they.
I love you though.
I love you, but you're wrong. Okay. Yeah.
But to me, they're an incredible dynamic duo. And they just blow me away each time.
I know.
Like this was just like, if you're gonna ask me which of the three was my favorite of their acts, the movie theater act was like my favorite.
That's right.
But they still blow me away with each act.
Oh yeah. And it's not about that. I mean, I really have to say that again.
Yeah.
All the performances that everyone does on this show is very high level.
Plus, there was a lot of strategy going into this show. Which, what do you put up first? What do you put up second? What do you put up third?
Right.
You have the best of your best lined out. What's my best bet? What's my second best bet? What's my third? And what do I open with? Do I open with the best, or do they save it for second?
Right.
Which round do I want to come out swinging? Because they could knock me off at any level, and you're going up with the best acts in America. Getting on the show was remarkably hard.
I believe that.
Very
I
hard.
bet.
There were so many rounds to get cut on before this ever went to the audition. Like, this was
So this like started with like
this
a star tape type of
last
thing?
October, like with online submissions and talks with we're doing this show. Do you want to do it? And then you do Skype interviews and all this stuff. So you're being courted and maybe not, and then you finally see somebody in person and it's like, what best two bits? And then now what's your best 3 bits?
Right.
And
And
so
do you
there's
have to
so
perform
much.
these in front of them? Oh, yeah, you have
there's
to do
so
these in
much
front.
going into even getting on the show.
Interesting.
That then it's like, where do you put your strongest bit? Do you open with it? Do
Right.
you put it round 2, or do you put it round 3?
Right,
it's
right, right,
difficult.
right.
Like, do you bank? I mean, yeah,
That's
so it's
tough.
kind of weird seeing like who saved their swinging for the fences for round 2,
Right.
who saved it, who opened with it, you know,
With the bangs, so
and
that's
who
like,
right
ooh,
now is going, all right, I'm just happy to be here. Let's see if America likes birds. You know?
Just coasting it, baby. But moving on, Michael Longfellow, that's our last stand-up of the evening, got on stage, did a little set about, at the work at the water park, being a lifeguard, and an odd situation.
See him being a lifeguard.
Totally.
Odd
Or a
situation.
Ken doll.
Yeah.
Naked? No.
It was a solid performance, but I definitely felt like he got lost in the shuffle. Jack, let me ask you, thoughts about Michael Longfellow, because I know you saw him live before.
Yeah, I've seen him at Flappers. Yeah, he's a great stand-up comic. I mean, he definitely is comfortable in his own skin.
Here comes the butt.
Who wouldn't be comfortable in that skin?
Right.
It is pretty exfoliated, yeah.
What does that mean?
He's a handsome man.
Yeah.
He's
His
a
regimen.
handsome man.
Yeah. No, he's great. I mean, I feel like, I don't know, it wasn't as funny as the other acts again, but he still brought it. He still, he does his thing on stage, and he's very likable, and he is funny.
Sure.
Yeah.
My honest opinion is just that and I know it's so short. I wasn't laughing like as hard as with like the Lou Burgers and the Frangela and also Morgan J.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I love Michael also.
And all of these have to go against. I mean, I'm still judging them against last week's acts as well.
Right.
And so I'm thinking in my head, who can rival Sam and Chris show?
Right.
To me, because they're my favorite.
Okay.
I just love
They're your
them. Ever
favorites.
since
Chris and Paul?
Yeah.
Oh.
Chris and Paul.
Chris and Paul, yeah.
No,
They're
worries.
amazing.
Oh my
Ever
God.
since
They're
the
like the
whoopee
Abbott
cushion,
Costello,
the
yeah.
whoopee cushion. Ever since then, I've been, yeah.
She's
I
hooked.
just,
I mean,
Buying your merch.
honestly,
Kristen Key is hooked.
I
I'm
mean,
hooked.
honestly, I feel
Yeah.
for you, and we talked about that last
Yeah.
week. I have a feeling they are very much like the top 3 for sure.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
yeah.
And so if you're like top 5, top 6, you shouldn't be in the conversation at this point.
No, not at all.
Okay. Well, the thing about Michael Longfellow, I always like his presence. I think of all the acts today, and him and Morgan, I felt like in his spot, it felt like you're at a Michael Longfellow show. You were watching Bringing the Funny, you were watching that. I think for me, the only technical thing I thought was kind of lame, if I can say it, was that he had a point where he had his punchline and he just stayed in it. And then he could have moved on to something else. And I was like,
I know.
when the guy was there on top of the slide,
Yeah.
he was like, well, what do we do?
Yeah.
Do we just kick it? I was like, no, we got it. We have it. Move on. Give me that one last
Yeah, there
punch.
was that little long of a pause.
And I just- that would've been
almost
it
thought
for
was gonna
me.
stop.
Yeah, it's funny that you
Please
say
don't get
that.
mad at me. I'm so sorry. That's too animal.
No, I'm
Flipping
just
tables.
listening.
No, it's
Oh,
funny.
I do like flipping tables, though. More throwing. More flipping.
throwing.
Honestly, it's funny that you say that though, because I feel like
Subjective. Sorry.
I don't know if I still say it.
Say it.
But
She's gonna flip you over there.
I mean, oh really?
Jazzy Jeff style.
I
Yeah.
kind of like that. I'm single. No, by the way. No, but what I wanted to say is that he has this kind of very calm attitude, obviously.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's one of his. That's his brand too, right? He comes on stage. Hey,
He's
everybody.
cool.
You know,
Yeah,
it's kind of,
yeah.
But I agree. I think at some point he did that too much.
Yeah.
For this punchline, it was too long. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, the joke. That was a joke already, right? So I was waiting. What is he doing? Why is he still talking about the same thing after 5 seconds?
Right.
He's like a
So
greaser.
that was a little too slow.
Sure.
But I still like his attitude because, like, coming from someone who's very high pitched very often, like comedian stand up, like they're very high pitched usually, right? For me at least.
Yeah.
But then he comes in like, hey everybody.
Yeah.
I was like, oh wow, that's kind of
That's
interesting.
like the afternoon jazz
Yeah.
wave voice.
Exactly, like the opposite of Chris
Physical
Tucker, you know?
speaking
It's like yacht rock.
Yeah.
Yacht Rock Radio.
yeah.
And lastly, we had Lou Burger, which is one of Jackie's favorites, coming back about not going to a party and being in their sweatpants. I mean, we could all relate being millennials that you say you're going to do something, and then it comes and you're like, I ain't going to do it. I'm I ain't going to show up. So, thoughts about that, Jackie? About
Oh
Lou
my
Burger?
God, I just love musical theater stuff. I just love musical comedy. Like I was telling Kristen Key, I love musical comedy, period. It's like literally
Thank
my
you.
favorite.
Mine too.
Yeah, I always try to throw this is why I need to throw some more kind of music into my stuff. I just love it. It's comfortable. I get what you're saying.
They do a good job with it too. Lou Berger does. Yes. They're so tight.
They are super tight, clean, just like it is a show. I feel like I'm no longer bring the funny. Like I am there and I'm just like, oh, I just went and I'm seeing Lou Berger. It's like, yay! Totally with them. And the audience is totally like with them and the sweatpants are coming off. That was Amanda's favorite part. She was like, honey, when the sweatpants came off, that's when they hooked me in. Like, amazingly funny. And it's so catchy. They're Broadway type of music.
I wish if they wrote a Broadway musical, I would see it. Almost like a Book of Mormon type deal. I would see it. Is that bring the funny? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know.
But it's funny.
It is funny.
It is because that's what the show is. The show is open to all kinds of variety, sketch, like so. When they put the umbrella of variety on there, they cast the net for Broadway comedy type musical acts.
Right.
So yes, that is absolutely what Bring the Funny Show is. I'm just weighing in as an expert on this. It's subjective.
You're the resident expert here.
But
man.
yes.
I'm just calling him the Peanut
show
Gallery as a guy who didn't apply for the show last year. Ben, what do you think?
So,
Yes.
A revolution's happening.
I totally agree. No, but I have to say, and I remember the conversation when we had them on the couch right in front of us. I told them, hey, you guys, that's musical to me. You should go to New York on Broadway.
Yeah.
And they were actually like, oh yeah, we would love to do that. So I think they even see themselves at Broadway doing that. They would love to do that.
It takes a show like this to give you a break.
Exactly.
To get the door to be open because people don't just invite you. It's like Broadway doesn't be like, hello, Lou Berger.
Exactly.
We're looking for three guys.
Exactly.
140 years
This
old.
is Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Exactly. So I think they're going to get it.
Sarah, give me Lou Berger 4-9.
Lord.
Line's busy.
So moving on, Lou Berger into Cara Williams. Again, question like last week. Did America get it right? And if you were America, who would you add on to those two? Sorry for you, Miss Nova.
Well, they definitely got it right with, oh my goodness, Lou Berger. Yes. And to Cara Williams, she's such an incredible stand-up comic that totally got that right too, but they also need to vote back Morgan J.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, Lou Berger, I get that. But honestly, based on the performance tonight, I would have given it to Morgan instead of to Cara Williams.
Now I see what happened. They couldn't have put through two musical acts.
That's what I'm
so
thinking.
They had to put.
Good point.
Oh, yeah.
Very good point.
They absolutely can't put through
And that
two
brings
musical
me
acts.
back.
So it's who did what.
That brings me back to
Yeah.
one thing I wanted to mention that because we talked about that before the show tonight. How much is this show manipulated, by the way?
Well, what do you
You
want?
know what
What's
I mean?
manipulated?
You know what I mean?
What do you think
I mean,
you're watching?
I put it out there from a business perspective.
Right.
How much do the judges decide
Businessman.
on
Yeah.
who they like, or what the business is telling them to do? You know what I'm
What
saying?
is the business?
It's
The business is like how many people would watch the show.
Hello, Chrissy Teigen? Yeah, this is Walmart. I want to see.
Walmart?
No, what I really mean there, guys.
It's a business.
That's not warm my voice at all. So it gets
What does Walmart
No, I mean
sound like?
but I mean that on a serious note.
Ooh.
Hello, this is Walmart.
I agree with you to a
That's a
point,
much
Ben.
better Walmart.
I agree with you to a point, but it gets complicated when you get America involved in voting. I'm just going from my experience working on American Idol because now they have like auditors to make sure the votes are valid and you're not doing.
Once
Oh, no,
America votes.
I get
yes.
that. No,
So
I'm not talking
I'm
about the
not
voting.
sure about that before.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the voting that America does. I'm not talking about that.
But it's mixed now. Like if you're asking, like if this show was just the Kenan saying yes and no, that's different. Once you have the idea of America voting, I think the last couple of rounds you wouldn't be able to do that kind of manipulation. Because if I get voted off the island and America doesn't vote for me, I could have a grievance and say, hey, I didn't get a judge opening sketch, or hey, my hashtag was super long in characters, and then people can complain or file a grievance. That's how it was American Idol. People didn't get that far. They complained to the network, and we had to deal with that.
I feel like we signed a contract at some point that said no matter what happens along the way, you can't sue us
Nice.
for any
Okay.
grievances.
Of course.
It's
You're
amazing.
just happy to be here, right?
Of
You're like,
course.
That's
Smiley
different.
face.
Of course.
That's different.
And so,
Hearts.
right? Is it manipulated? It's like, do the judges sit on the couch with no earpiece in and nobody saying,
I don't know.
"Fix your hair, vote Lou Berger."
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
They've got some.
viral
I
headset.
mean, they've got somebody saying something. Everybody meets in a room at some point to discuss who's moving. I figure we're all just the pictures on a cork board somewhere, and they're going, this one looks good next to that one. You know, put the white one and the brown one next to each other. You know,
like
I'm
FBI.
assuming. You know,
No, but it sounds funny, but I believe that.
of course.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
It's Hollywood. man.
Yes.
Yeah.
see,
Welcome to Hollywood.
That's why it's actually a serious point that I wanted to make.
Okay. Well,
I think no one got it, but hey, move on.
it's now, it's now time for the news segment. Mr. Schnau, what do you have for us?
Okay, let me try to be funny again. So, the
You're always
first
funny, man.
thing I wanted to show is about you, Kristen.
Oh,
I
am I
know.
nude?
I know, I hope you're scared because I want to show you and everyone, I want to show us a little video that you kind of voiced over or dubbed or something.
I did the jingle for this.
You did the jingle for
I did the jingle for
did
this.
jingle?
I just want to play it first and then
Yeah.
we talk about it. Please, show it to the world one more time. If it plays.
1 second. Sorry,
Yeah,
guys.
it's okay.
Take your time, I still love you.
Didn't know
Still
you
love
made
you.
a
Keys in the house.
in the history of jingles.
I mean,
Coming at you.
Better than Klondike Bar?
I
or-
was
or
laughing so
Bounds
hard.
and
We'll
Almond
find
Joy?
out.
I was laughing so hard
By
about it.
Menon?
Okay, let's do this.
Let's do it.
Oh, so delicious. It's a hot sauce made by bears. Oh, so delicious hot sauce. Great on everything except oatmeal. Oh, so delicious.
I mean, I have to talk about that. How did that come along?
Okay,
How,
so the full jingle is like a minute long.
Right.
Yeah, but Jordan Brady, who directs commercials, and he worked on a comedy documentary or 2 or 3. Anyway, he knew I did music, and he said, "Hey, I've made this hot sauce, and I need a jingle for it. I've got some words, and here's how it goes in my head." And he sang it into his phone and sent me a text message. He goes, "Can you make that into a jingle?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll send it back to you in like an hour." And that's what I did.
In an hour?
Yeah. And I sent it back to him, and I was like, "Let me know if you want to go into a studio or something, and we'll put it down." And he goes, "Nope, this'll work. I'll send you some money." I was like, I don't need money, but
Yeah.
that'd be great.
Those are not money. Yeah.
Starving artist,
Send me
not.
some money, and it's all over the place.
But
yeah.
wait, he's a filmmaker.
He's a filmmaker.
But he created his own sauce.
But this
Or-
hot sauce legit is really good, and he gives the profits to a lot of charities.
Right.
And so
Okay.
he's very philanthropic about it. But the hot sauce, I cannot say enough about it. I put this stuff on everything.
Nice.
So and I got some free. You
So
know?
you get hot sauce for
But
life.
I've also bought like $50 worth of it now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, like
Whoa.
I'm gonna go through all the money he sent me.
So where can people find it if they want to check it out? Where can-
OhSoDelicious.com.
Oh,
yeah, just Google Oh So
OhSoDelicious.com.
Delicious.
All right.
And it's the hot sauce made by bears.
Make sure you have the safe
It's
search
good on
filter
everything?
for alsodelicious.com.
Oh my god, it's so good. I put it on my eggs. I put it on pizza.
Nice.
Pizza.
It's so good. It's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
That's very
love it.
Jimmy
So wait,
Fallon.
well
dude.
now that he got us, me and my wife are into hot sauce now, and a friend of ours made this sauce, and he's super into Super Mario Brothers. But anyway, as soon as it's hot sauce, and now I call it Bowser sauce.
Oh, nice, yeah.
It's like from the dungeon level.
I love
But
it.
it's a totally different hot sauce, but Oso is good on everything.
Oh, so is
Wow.
good on it because she's
Except
the spokesperson
oatmeal.
for
We're
Oso.
into
Yeah.
So
I kind of am the unofficial spokesperson for Oso because I post about it way more often. I was never supposed to post about it, but I'm all like, "Eat Oso! I'm having it again."
What's your deal with hot sauce?
It's really
Those
good.
Instagram people do all the time. But coming from a hot sauce to a little bit more of a serious topic, and I found this article about like ABC execs having regrets over hiring Chrissy Teigen to host Bring the Funny. So I just wanted to have like a quick conversation
Where'd
about
you
it.
find that? That makes me so sad.
Yeah, but how do you guys feel about that, thinking from a comedian perspective? Because she is clearly not a comedian, right? So how much is she actually, or how much should she be on the show not being a
lot.
comedian?
Yeah,
I
but
personally think she brings a lot of personality to the judges because I think Kenan and Jeff are always kind of downplaying personality because they're trying, I don't know what they're trying to do, but they don't showcase a lot of their personality throughout the tapings. But she does.
Yeah.
And so she really livens up the tapings.
Right.
And I think she's wonderful. And she also represents, to me, the voice of regular old America. You know,
Yes.
and I think regular old America is who we perform in front of every single night.
Right.
We don't perform in front of judgy comedians.
Right.
That would be awful.
Right.
Right.
So she really does represent who I play to on a daily basis and who most sketch groups play to.
Right.
She is our audience.
Okay, from that perspective, I can see that.
There you go.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think they're wrong.
I
Yeah, I
absolutely
mean-
think they're wrong. And she hugged me in a bathroom once, and it brightened my day for about a week.
She's great.
She's
you
so
can
great.
feel the personality
great.
and energy. Like they need someone like her. It's good that you have a.
She smells like sugar cookies.
Oh, sugar
Yeah.
cookies.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that from that point of view. I mean,
Yeah.
if we talk about the overall thing, I have a lot more to say, but we don't have the time for that. So
I'm
I'll just
just
skip
a little
that for now.
confused because the show airs on NBC, not ABC. But the issue aside, I mean,
Yeah, what
that's-
does ABC have to do
I
with
mean, you
Chrissy
know how it
Teigen?
is. Some of that stuff might be also gossip. You know how that is.
Yeah.
So,
Fake
you know,
news!
you know,
Fake news!
I'm not sure.
Oh, well, let me ask you a question, Kristen. Well, would you have?
I'm sorry about
We're
that.
not replacing Chrissy, but would you have liked a musical comedic like if like Garfunkel and Oates or something was a judge on that side and talk about that kind of pursuit?
I mean, it would have been nice to have somebody that didn't hate musical like guitar comics going in, because I did hear them say that a lot when I was watching the show air, and they're like, "Well, we don't like guitar comics." I was like, "Well, I'm on next.
Well, you know what's so
next
funny?
week I'm on."
Wait, I'm not sure if you heard it, but Jeff tonight, when he heard Morgan J, he actually said, "You know what? In the beginning, I know I was sort of saying like I don't like musical guitar playing comedy." He's
Right.
like, "But I've changed my mind."
Well, that's to me a hard way to start a show. Like, what
Yeah.
you know, when you have guitar playing comics coming on, you're just like, we don't like them. Like, this is kind of fighting an uphill battle here, guys. You know, you don't have like Judge
Yeah.
going like, "Oh, I hate sketch. Go do some sketch now."
Yeah.
Well, we like you, and
We
then,
love you.
Ben, we have one more news item.
Yeah, it's just the last thing I wanted to share with you guys because I found it quite funny because we have two pictures. The left one, guess who the left one is?
I'm as blind as a bat.
Someone's in a mustache.
I mean, the right one is clear, obviously.
The baby.
So who did they compare with Jeff Foxworthy?
I have no idea who.
Think
that
about it.
is.
Who is that, guys? If you don't know at home, just send us some comments. I would like to hear it.
Oh man.
Okay, let me put it that way. A Star is Born.
Bradley Cooper.
That's not Bradley
yeah,
Cooper.
it is
Bradley
Bradley Cooper,
Cooper?
guys. It is Bradley Cooper with
Wow.
his daughter in Disneyland. So he basically cut his hair on the side and he kept the mustache. And I think he's gonna get prepared for a new role or whatever.
Oh,
But-
wow! I can see it better now.
But
Oh my
now
God.
that you know it, it's more obvious, right? You can see the face structure a little more. But the funny thing is about this post is that Jeff's wife, basically, if you can like zoom out a little bit, Jonathan, if you don't mind, his wife, Jeff's
she
wife,
posted it.
basically said, "My wife is so happy right now." Or maybe Jeff said that. My wife is so happy about that right now, seeing Bradley Cooper
With a
kind of
mustache.
He's
copying
some
her.
loving. Oh yeah.
But I find it so fascinating, especially from an acting perspective, how much these people also change, right?
Well, you know, he wants to get out of the light of "Tell me something."
I was gonna say, I'd
Yeah.
like to hear them do a duet.
I would love that. I would love
Might
that.
be a record.
So yeah, that's a little bit of a funny thing at the end, but that's it from me.
You might be a redneck.
That's it. I'm done.
Fantastic. Thank you so
Good
much
for
for
that.
this, man.
Oh, come
Good
on.
news.
So next week is the final episode of Bring the Fun. Are you having a watch party?
I'll be on a cruise ship in Alaska
Ooh.
for
Okay.
work, but
Congratulations.
Could be worse.
yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah, I
but
was like,
I
yeah.
will be. I'm always addicted to Twitter when I'm on these things to
Right.
see
Yes.
what's going on, because I'm really curious. I'm dying to know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Her palms are sweaty while she's saying it.
I know, it's one of those, when it's a singing show or something, you're like you can, it's so different to judge them, but when it's comedy, you just go, "Oh, comedy gods, who's gonna win?" You know?
Yeah.
'Cause-
Right.
yeah, but
It is subjective.
but Chris and Paul, I think, are my,
Oh yeah, for sure.
they're my favorites
They're
as
good.
far as just like they make me laugh. But that doesn't mean that, to me, that doesn't mean they're the best. It just means they're my favorites. They
Right.
make me laugh.
Right.
You know,
Hmm.
it's like a British sitcom can make certain people laugh and other people look at it and go, "I don't understand why that's funny," and you're like,
Right.
"You're an idiot."
Do you have a
Yeah.
favorite British comedy? I'm just curious.
I liked Faulty Towers.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That was
Well, I
definitely
know
one
what
I was
John
thinking.
Cleese.
I
Yeah.
know what she means, because the Office, the British Office, some people don't get it. The Americans that do the Office here are like hysterical, but the one in
Two
Europe,
totally different
Different things.
shows.
Yeah.
so crazy.
I met a stand-up comic at Comedy and Magic this last weekend who was he was doing stand-up in English, and he's a Chinese man who's
Yeah.
talking about doing his act in Chinese when he's in China. And I go, "Do Chinese audiences laugh harder at wordplay or physicality?" And he goes, "It depends on what city you're in." And I was like, I wish that I spoke Chinese to hear his act, because I loved his act in English, and it was about who he is in America. But I know it's different in Chinese as him being a Chinese man in China. And that's, to me, a great example of how different comedy is everywhere you go, how subjective it is, and how it's not really up. I don't know that one comic is necessarily funnier than another. It's just, who's on top today, who had a better set today, or who, whatever.
Yeah,
totally.
You're right. We agree.
By the way, check out The Office in Germany.
Subjective. It's almost time for us to get out of here. Kristen, where can the world find you online, and how can they consume your content? How can they follow you?
Best way is I have a website. It's called KristenKey.com, and I 100% just stole the entire way to make my website based on Aaron Foley. Sorry, Aaron.
Cool. I think we all do that.
It's KristenKey.com. All my my handles are at the Kristen Key.
Okay.
YouTube is KristenKey.com/KristenKeyComedy, but you can find all that on my website. Is KristenKey.com. I'm recording a new album in October. Go watch my my stand-up comedy special on Dry Bar Comedy. It's called Kristen Key Crafty. You see a lot of my stand-up there.
Nice.
But just look for me through my website, KristenKey.com. And it's Kristen with K and then 2 I's, 1 vagina.
I can either confirm it or not.
I like that.
Ben Schnau, where can the world find you on the internet, man?
They can find me on Instagram at Benjamin Schnau, SCHNAU, right? Also on Facebook. I also do Pennyworth on Sunday at 7 p.m. And then on Monday, I do the Terror Show also on 7 p.m. And then on Tuesday, before this show, I do the Dark in German for you guys in Germany, Switzerland, and Austria.
How do you find time to date, man?
I don't need that.
Okay.
He doesn't need
I'm
it.
lonely.
He's here hard working for the
fucking
money.
lonely.
Jackie Nova.
You can find me at Jackie Nova 7 across the board, and you can also go to oxfilms.us because I have a feature film coming out this fall in October called Art of Deception. Richard Ryan and I produced it. We're starring in it, and and then you can find me here all week, baby dolls.
Yeah, I saw you punch people in the face in the trailer. It was pretty intense. Yeah, it was awesome.
It's action suspense. I kick some booty, baby.
Booty. Of course, my name is Flobo Boyce. You can follow me on Twitter at Flobo Boyce, on Instagram at Flopito, and Flopito.com. My comedy album, American for Now, is now available streaming. Please download it because I got rent to pay. And until next time, buzz you later.
Buzz you later! Thank you, Kristen Key, for being here.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.